Good morning, beloved. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever it is that you are watching the broadcast, hello, 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 hello. It is wonderful connecting with you, wonderful saying hi, hello, how do you do? For those who will be live, yes, 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 let's do the thing. Let's do it, let's do it, let's do it. For those who will hashtag and replay it, I love it. For those who will be on and I don't know you on and I might not never know you on, I could appreciate that. And for those who will be used by Papa at some point down the road, let's make it do what it do. Let's make it do what it do, beloved. Excuse me, let me turn this fan on because it's a little warm. All right, let's dive in. So this week, this is our third day, and we've been talking about Good Morning, Virginia from Virginia. We've been talking about this notion of I don't care, but not so much. Like if I probably could have reworded it had I thought about it. But at any rate, here we are. I don't care, meaning we can't afford to care to interruption. Good morning, cousin. So good to see you. Like we really can't afford to care to the point of interruption. So, so when we think about um when we think about this notion of caring so much that we allow other people's opinion to interrupt our choices, when we care so much that we allow other people, good morning, Tanya, sending love right back to you. When we care to the point of other people's opinion swaying our path, swaying what we know that's true for our soul. See, the thing of it is no one else is taking your journey. Only you can take your journey. And sometimes your journey looks off to other people. And I get it. I get it. And, there are times when people are very well meaning and they see what they think is off for our journey, a decision that we've made, a posture that we've taken, a belief that we hold, and other people are not there with us. That's it, right? They're not there with us. So each of us are uniquely individual. We are held responsible, or we have the privilege of bringing into Papa's universe something that no one else can in the way that we do it. And since that is a truth, since that is an irrefutable truth, because can't nobody do what you do the way you do it, beloved. No one. And since that is as it is, we must shepherd, we must protect, we must bring forth that which we are too, which means that we are going to take a unique path that others won't take. So we have to have a certain level. Good morning, Erica. Hey, honey bun. We have to have a certain level of I don't care. not not in a flippant way. I'm not a flippant person, right? I'm not a flippant person. I I take words have life and they have power. So if I speak it, I am considering the weight and the impact of the word. So I am not willing to be flippant to say, I don't care. No, 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 no. I can't afford to care so much that my path, my process is interrupted by other people's opinions. Remember yesterday we talked, other people's opinions ain't none of your business. You got to free yourself because you can't stop them from having the opinion anyway. So why does it matter? Right? That's an emotional maturity issue. That's a space to grow in maturity in your emotions, to be able to manage them more effectively, to get to the point to say, okay, it's okay. Like it might not feel good, but it ought not to derail you, beloved. when you hear something like it might not feel good, it may be, and I know the more that we value someone, then the more that we value their opinion of us. But at the end of the day, your opinion of you is what matters most. At the end of the day, your opinion of you is what matters most. Now, it can be disarming and disalarming and all the kind of things, and have the conversation, like if something is said. But this is what I'm getting at. We cannot demand that somebody think a particular way about us. Hey, Apostle, hello. It's so good to see you. We cannot demand that someone thinks a particular way about us. It's an effort of futility, because we're not in their mind. We're not in their background. We don't determine where they park, what they do, what they don't do. That's not up to us. Right. And we waste time and energy, and we engage such the lower frequency emotions that don't have a lot of energy to begin with. So, beloved, you got to take I can't afford to care mentality. I think that's a better, instead of I don't care, I think I can't afford to care is a better way of saying it. It's really the true, the more it rings more true to my heart. Like, of course, it matters to me that I am experienced as kind and loving and considered. Hey, Ray Price, it is hump day. I'm loving it, right? It matters to me that I'm seeing in the way that I have decided to live my life. And if those who love me and are close to me, who know me well, who journey with me, if they experience me other than, I need to know. I need y'all to tell me. If you experience me other than kind, if you experience me other than loving, if you experience me other than honest or truthful or straightforward, if you experience me other than compassionate, I need you to tell me that. I need to know that, because my intention is all of those things to be my normal way of living, right? And if I'm showing up in a different way, y'all, I don't know that I am, right? I don't know that I am, because if I know it, I'm going to apologize. Like, I'm going to do what I need to do to say, hey, that day I was just, because I'm not saying I can do it in perfection. Absolutely not. But that is my more often than not state of being. It is my preferred state of being. And I'm so committed to it that I do my work every day. There is not a day that I go back that I don't stop and reflect on how I showed up in the day and what it is, how I can adjust so that I can grow in love, so I can become more loving. I'm going to read this statement that I wrote to myself. And so I was reading a book, and the book was about where did I write the statement at? Oh, I thought I wrote it in this book. The book was talking about like us having a definitive major purpose in life, a definitive intention. Like, what's your definitive intention? My definitive intention ultimately is to add more love into the world, in however it is, all kind of methodologies and approaches and things like that. Y'all know I'll change. I'll do something different. I'm going to do what works for me. But to add more love into the world is into Papa's universe, right? That's my intention in life, however that looks like. But it's got to start with me. And then I wrote this yesterday. I say, to do this, I must emit the energy of love. I can't be caught up in a whole bunch of other things. That's why I can't afford to care about people's opinions of me, whether it's positive or negative. Because if I care about positive opinions, I'm going to get caught up when the opinions are not positive, or I'm going to get caught up if there are no opinions. So I can't afford to care. I can't get swayed by the positive, and I can't get swayed by the negative. I must stay to task. I must stay on the road, in the path, on the task that Papa has called me to. Amen. Amen, Apostle. Amen. We can't afford to, because we will be derailed. Everybody got their own journey. Everybody on their own path. Everybody in their own, on their own continuum, and that ain't none of my business. I can't do that work for them. I can only do my work for me. So this is what I said to myself yesterday to do this, and I was reflecting. But I write all in my books like this. This is written in the book. Okay, I was right to do this. I must emit the energy of love. I must become more of love through the practice of love each day. I must become more of love through the practice of love each day. Like, I can't keep this outside of me. This can't be something that I put on. It has to be someone who I become. If my life's purpose, intention is to add more love into the world, to add more love into Papa's universe, if that's my intention, I got to have more love, right? More love, please. Y'all remember that MLP? I have to have more of that in order to add. I have to have more in order to do it. So look, I know some people may, look, and so yeah, more love, please. I remember this. I just looking at my chart. More love, please movement. We paused that for a minute, but we'll get back to it. We'll come back to it, right? We'll be back to it are you doing a run, Tanya, this year? We haven't talked about that, but at any rate, that is something that the More Love Please movement does support, is Tanya's run for her ladies and babes. So we can't afford it. We can't afford it. It doesn't feel good, right? It doesn't feel good either. And why purposely do something? Yes, of course, I remember it. I love More Love, Please. Right? No, I'm pausing as well. Okay. All right, honey. All right. So, when we think about this notion of we just can't afford, and again, I want to be clear that I'm never going to be flippant. Well, at least it's not my way. If I do it, like, I've lost my way for a moment. It's because, we're human and sometimes we do things that's out of character. Hey, cuz. Good morning, cuz. So good to see you. That's my cousin, y'all, Clyde. My mama's younger sister, not baby, but younger sister's son. Have a blessed day. You too. You too. So I've definitely heard things through the years that people have said to me, people close to me, right, have said that have not been in a positive light. And there's a sting, right? There's a sting. But then wisdom sets in, and it's like, they have a right to think what they want to think, right? They have a right. I'm not sure. Sometimes it is worth a conversation, and at other times it's not. But this is the thing, y'all. Let me just say, if you heard that somebody said something about me and you're going to tell me, know that I'm going to tell them that you told me, because I'm going to have a conversation, and I'm not going to say, I heard. No, that's stupid. That is stupid. That's stupid. Like, that don't make sense. Like, who are we? We're not in elementary school. For real, we're not. And if it's worth my time, it's worth getting all the cards on the table. And it's worth having the full conversation. So if it's worth me saying it, you better know that I'm going to say this. I was having a conversation with, so-and-so, and this came up in our conversation. I don't have time for messiness. I don't have time for it. I'm not having a sidebar in the corner, download conversation. No, it is not worth our breath, our energy, our efforts. Is just not worth it. And so, like, I've heard things that I would never repeat because it's not life-giving. Everybody have a right to be wherever they are. But I'm not going to bring you news that's just not life-giving for you. Why would I do that? Now, if there's something you need to know, I will give you that information. If there's something you need to know, I'll let you know. You need to, watch this or watch that. And I'll let you know that there isn't more that I can share about that. But if you need to know, I'm going to give you as much as I can and what you need to know. Do you see? Because sometimes we're in roles and we have privileged communications that simply cannot be shared. But so in therapy, there's this law called duty to warn. So if you think that someone is going to harm someone else, you have a duty, even though you are held in confidence in therapy, there is a law. You have a duty to warn. So it's almost that idea of it's almost that idea in the sense that if I know something and it can be harmful for you, I will share it in the most confidential of ways to make sure that you're well, right? Make sure that you're well. So I'm just saying, y'all, we can't afford to care so much about situations, conversations. Everybody have a right. And sometimes people just venting. And then when they have a chance to think about what they said, they don't feel good about it. Right? Or they know they just needed to get it out, but that's not the truth of where they are. They were just hurt or disappointed. I'm not justifying anything. I'm just giving rationale here. Okay. Because I think we should watch what comes out of our mouth. Right? Now, there are a lot of times when we're processing, we just need to get it out, right? We need to say what we need to say. And hopefully the other person on the other side is a person of wisdom who will be safe space for you to get out, but also be a life-giving mirror, a mirror of love. So that as you bring out something that isn't loving, their responses to you can offer that, put that ball back in your court and say, well, so reconsider this. Or have you considered that? Or what about this? Or is this life-giving for you? I know that this happened. I know that they said this. However, your rehearsing of it does not serve you well. I know it might not feel good. I know you might not like it, but how long you staying there? Because whatever infraction, whatever problem, whatever assault, or whatever it is that they did, our rehearsing it just makes it worse. It just makes it worse. To continue to talk about it, it just makes it worse. So now we're harming ourselves. We're picking up the torch from where they lit it, and we just pick it up and run with it, and we keep rehearsing the story about who shot John and why they shot at us and why they words this and why they this, and I can't believe they did this, and can you believe, and da 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 da. No, I can't believe, girl, you da 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 da. I'm just like, whoa, stop the train, everybody. Stop the train. I'm let beep beep toot toot. Let me get off. Let me get off. Let me get off. Woo, it's too much. It's too much. I don't want to. Yeah, I know. And my my husband, we were talking about something that happened that has really worked out, that required me to show up in a way that I typically don't show up in life. And he said to me, he said, I've never seen you something like that. I said, what do you mean? He's like, confrontational. He said, you're non-confrontational. I said, what does that mean to you, that I'm non-confrontational? I wanted to see his version of what that means. He said, well, you will avoid a confrontation if you could. I said, absolutely, I will. Why have one if we don't have to have one? Right? There's a way we can have a conversation that's difficult that doesn't have to be confrontational. I really don't believe in confrontation. I believe in carefrontation. I love that. I learned that 20 years ago in my counseling program, 23 years ago. And that carefronting, like, you really don't have a right to confront me if you don't love me. If you haven't earned the right, you can hold me accountable and all those kinds of things. If we're in kind of relationship, like if we're working together, you can hold me accountable for my part, those kinds of things. But I'm like, confronting me, like up in my face and whatever. No. You got to earn that right, boo. You got to earn that right. Like, because some people just say, I'm going to whatever. Like your whole spirit is off. Your whole spirit is off. You just want to get people told what's going on in your spirit, beloved. What's happening with you? Go get that fixed. Go work on it. Lay it at the cross. or go to a therapist or something, right? Work it out, because we don't have to be like that. We don't have to. And I'm not going to if I don't have to. But in this situation, I had to show up in a different way and really hold some people's feet to the fire and out them in public and all kinds of things. That is not who I do. That's not what I am. Like, I don't, that's not my preference. Like, this, it has to be so much, there has to be so much at stake for me to make that choice. Hey, Cassie. So good to see you, my sister. Yes, carefrontation, right? There has to be so much at stake for me to make that choice, because that's not my preference ever. Ever. I'd rather have a quiet, calm conversation with you. It can be difficult, but I'd rather have that conversation in private and give you a chance for restoration on your own. Well, I ain't got to declare weak. Nobody had a conversation. I don't even have to talk about the thing that happened. Let's just, let's just have that restoration in private if we can. That's my preference. And then you go and make amends for the carnage that you have in your background. I will hold you accountable for that, though. I will hold you accountable for you making amends, because you and I can have our private conversation, but then you need to go fix whatever you tore up, because they need space to recover and have restoration too. And sometimes that's just a lot easier when people admit to their stuff. You too. All right, beloved, we are at the top of the hour. At the moment that Abba gave us our breath, me and you, we forfeited, we relinquished, we gave up the right to not be amazing. Have a fantastic day. I love you. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.